Ya dice en vivo. Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining this live. It's a very important live. It's been some weeks since the last time we talked, since the last time I talked to all of you. By the way, I appreciate your trust. Appreciate your trust, Dr. Zavalza, and his work. I really appreciate it from thousands of patients that made a decision to follow us, to trust in our work. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Upcoming holidays, I hope you enjoy. I hope you are with the family. I hope you're able to take care of yourself. So I wish you the best. I wish you the best in the process. Remember that you can contact me anytime, that you can call me. It's very easy to find my number. It's very easy to contact me. Just let me know. I'm going to be there for you all the way. So a few patients contacted me last week, patients that I operated 2-3 years ago, and patients got the answers that they were looking for. Okay, so appreciate it. Today I do this streaming, thinking about what's going on in the bariatric world. In the bariatric world, in the weight loss processes all over the world, a lot of things are happening. Artificial intelligence is just getting into our lives here, there, everywhere. So artificial intelligence is going to be handling a lot of the work that we're going to be doing in the future. And bariatric surgery, bariatric world is not the exception. Actually, in the near future, robots are going to be doing the surgeries, right? Mexico, we're far away from that, but from developed countries, I think that is the future. So, said this, artificial intelligence cannot replace our DNA. It might change it a little bit, but it cannot replace it. It cannot change what we are designed for. And another thing that is happening very, very strong in these days in the bariatric world is medications. You see the medications are everywhere. GLP-1 is a word that the whole world knows about it. All these medications are everywhere. You can find it at a pretty affordable price, and it's just a boom. And now in bariatric surgery, that is the boom. Since the very beginning, these medications were used to treat and control diabetes mellitus. But they saw that in diabetic patients and overweight patients, the patient loses weight. So they start looking they start looking at these medications in a different way, used for weight loss, not for diabetes. And new generations of these medications are about to show up in the market. So the most Mounjaro, Tirzepatide, Wegovy, so name it, whichever. At the end of the day, this is the molecule that is now in the market, that is now the target for a lot of treatments, So you're going to be very careful about these medications, because these medications, even though they are very good and they can be very, very effective, if you don't watch the root of the problem, these medications can affect your life in a very adverse way. And why do I say this? We rely on an alternative treatment, and that's not the idea. The idea is to rely on the basics, rely on the body, rely in our genetics. Our genetics are designed to eat in a certain way, to rest in a certain way, to exercise in a certain way, and certain amount of stress exposure. So you're going to be very careful, no matter what you do, no matter which surgery you get, no matter if you get the sleeve, no matter if you get the bypass, the mini bypass, the SADI, the SASI, the duodenal switch, or the new surgery that we're going to talk about. Never think that is going to be a final or ultimate solution. The ultimate solution is change the whole world feeding system. And since that is not going to happen, so you're going to be very careful. I have some videos. I show you this video where I talk about the basics. No matter what you do, no matter the surgery you get, there are 4 things that you're going to be following every single day if you want to be that person, if you want to have that body, if you want to be that healthy. That's the only way you can achieve these goals. And the first one is, I already told you, but I want to repeat it. I call it the Splendid 4. The Splendid 4. The number 1 is to eat good. Eat good means no sugar, no alcohol, all the kind of sugars, 90 minutes, 1 hour and 20 minutes video talking about which sugars are good, which are not good, why they're good, why they're not good, okay? The second thing is we are designed to rest. 1/3 of the day, approximately, we're gonna be resting. Good quality sleep is mandatory for any weight loss process. Ain't no matter if it's medication, ain't no matter if it's a surgery, ain't no matter if it's a balloon, ain't no matter if it's an endoscopic gastric sleeve. It doesn't matter, you gotta rest. Every single day, you gotta rest. Sleep deprivation causes in our body, in our cells, a lot of stress, and the stress itself causes release hormones that prevents our body to lose weight, prevents our body to function properly. So you've got to be very careful. We cannot be functioning under stress conditions. So you got to be very careful for that. And one of the most important things that causes stress is sleep deprivation. We are not sleeping good. So in that video, I mentioned broadly what can you do in order to get a proper sleep. And there are a lot of videos over there. We are going to work on some videos too, talking about best way to rest. The third one is a physical activity. Physical activity is mandatory. It's mandatory. You got to move. We are designed to move. See, we have our muscular system is designed to be active, right? And after the 30s, our muscle systems start declining. We lose about 1% of muscle per year after the 30s because our life starts declining. So the idea is that the muscle can maintain stable during the time and don't lose that amount of muscle. If you're able to do that, then you're going to have one of the best things you can do for yourself is keep a good lean muscle, because this can make you burn calories, can make you burn a lot of what you eat, and will help you to maintain the weight or to lose the weight. Okay, and the final thing is stress. Stress from the work, stress from the traffic, stress from the sleep deprivation, stress for interpersonal relationship, whatever. This world is so stressing, and we are not designed to live under stress. If we are not able to control the stress, we are gonna fail. And no matter what we do, you cannot be under constant stress, because this can mess any process up. Okay, said this is Splendid 4 that I repeated for you again. So sleep, eat, exercise, and stress. Those 4 things are going to make you succeed no matter what you do, no matter the surgery you get, no matter if you're on medications or whatever. So what is happening with the surgeries? Well, gastric sleeve has proven very effective, but with some limitations. Gastric bypass, in my opinion, is still one of the best surgeries that you can get. Mini gastric bypass, a new surgery recently accepted by the FDA, is proven very wonderful surgery, just with the inconvenience of biliary reflux. Bile reflux is one of the biggest things in the mini gastric bypass. And the new surgeries, well, one is not that new. This is the vaginal switch that is very aggressive. It's not used that much nowadays, but there are some variants of these surgeries, and these surgeries are called ileal surgeries. What are ileal surgeries? Well, ileal surgeries are surgeries that involves the ileum. Ileum is the last portion of the small intestine. Okay, so you change the anatomy of the human body, of the gastrointestinal system, to stimulate this portion of the small intestine. This is a theory scientifically proven that is called the distal intestine. So I'm not going to go deep on this because it can be very complex. But in simple words, means that if you're able to stimulate early the last portion of the small intestine, this portion of intestine is going to send signals to the first portion of the gastrointestinal system to decrease the food intake, to increase the food intake, or whatever, depend on the stimulus of the last portion of the intestines. Okay, actually, in this portion of intestine, in some cells that are located in this part of the intestines, is produced the molecule that is a boom nowadays. That molecule is GLP-1. stands for glucagon-like peptide, number 1. This has a lot of functions and physiological activities. One of them is decrease the hunger, decreases the gastric emptying, increases the satiety, stimulates other cells, contra-regulates insulin, causing metabolic effects. So, said this is the molecule we are using to lose weight at this moment. So, and these surgeries, all these ileal surgeries, name it SASI, single anastomosis sleeve ileal surgery, duodenal switch, bilipancreatic diversion with duodenal switch, name it SADS, single anastomosis, duodenal ileal sleeve, or the surgery that we're going to talk in a few minutes, intestinal transit bipartition. Okay, all these surgeries stimulates early the intestines. It's not natural, but it's more natural than getting injections. Stimulates the last portion of the small intestine, and this stimulation causes all the effects that GLP-1 is having in the patients that are having these type of surgeries, okay, or the patients that are getting these shots. All right, these medications, this GLP by itself, it doesn't have such a great effect. You know, like semaglutide, for example. Semaglutide is only GLP-1 analog. Tirzepatide is GIP, which is a similar hormone that works together with the GLP-1. Both work together, that's why it's more effective. But if you produce it naturally, your body produces all this group of hormones that together cause the desired effect. All right, so that is the GLP-1 analog. Be very careful using these medications. These medications are very, very good. They're nowadays almost the first line of treatment. You go for a weight loss process, and the first thing that you are going to be offered is most likely a weight loss medication. And these are the newest. These are the booms. And be very careful. They have some side effects: bloating, constipations, ileum, nausea, vomiting. In the long-term use, it can cause a very important loss of mass muscle. Remember the muscle that I told you about exercise? It can make you lose a lot of mass muscle. And if you lose mass muscle, your metabolism is going to decrease. So it's going to be a yo-yo effect that when you stop these medications, it's going to be very likely that you regain the weight. That's why it's very important, very, very important to follow any weight loss process with those fantastic. This is Zplendid for, which is good, eat good, sleep, and I already told you that, right? Okay. So said this, these surgeries that stimulates this final portion, the newest, and recently in France, in the city of France that is called Strasbourg, it was a consensus. All the international experts meet to talk about this, which is the best practices in order to do this surgery, intestinal limbs and stuff like that. How do I explain an intestinal transit bipartition? What is an intestinal transit bipartition? It's simple. The best way to explain it to all my patients is intestinal transit bipartition is a sleeve and it's a bypass. Technically speaking, it has portions of both surgeries. Well, a sleeve is a normal gastric sleeve, a little bit wider because you're going to have a bypass too. So it's a little bit wider. It's a sleeve gastrectomy. The traditional, the standard, the most common performed procedure in the world, it's a gastric sleeve. So that is an intestinal transit bipartition. You perform a gastric sleeve. And the second surgery, it's a bypass. But it's not the traditional bypass. It's not the traditional proximal. It's not the traditional proximal gastric bypass that you've known for decades. It's a different type of bypass. Bypass means bypass. You jump a portion of the small intestine. And in this case, what you jump is most of the proximal small intestine. All right. How do you connect it? It's called Roux-en-Y intestinal transit bipartition. Roux-en-Y is a procedure that it can be used for a lot of surgeries, but in this case is, imagine this, you cut it, and this is a Y. This portion is connected to the sleeve, and this is connected downward. That's why this procedure can be used for cancers, can be used for a lot of procedures. It's used for the regular Roux-en-Y gastric bypass, but in this case, the intestinal transit bipartition contains these, right? So from the sleeve that comes this way, you connect it to this intestine, and this intestine is the ileum. And all this portion of the intestines, the GLP-1 analog is produced. Why is very promising surgery? So it's a surgery. It's 20 days. It was designed by a Brazilian surgeon, Paul Santoro. He found out that you can get most of the benefits from the sleeve, but the most unwanted side effect from the gastric sleeve, which is acid reflux. All right, this is very, 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 very important. The second, with the bypass, you can get most of the benefits from the bypass, but the most unwanted side effects, which are dumping, which are malnutrition, which is a bad malabsorption. In this surgery, you don't exclude any intestinal segments. You use all your gastrointestinal segment, but a different percentage. After you connect and you bypass the sleeve at this portion, a percentage of the food goes one way and another percentage goes other way. And with this, stimulating early the last portion of the intestine, you get all the metabolic effects of the intestinal transit bipartition. I can explain in detail because it's not simple to understand all those connections. I understand, but said this, and in simple words, an intestinal transit bipartition is a bariatric procedure with no intestinal segments exclusions that includes a regular gastric sleeve and a different form of gastric bypass. It's not a gastric bypass, the traditional, remember, okay? So this benefits has proven better metabolic control. So if you have diabetes, long-standing type 2 diabetes, you use insulin, you're using 2 or 3 medications to control it, then this surgery can be for you. And it can be very, very helpful. It has also a very, very good weight loss. The weight loss after this surgery is phenomenal. It's really, really good. It's slow, it's steady, it's consistent, and that's what you are looking for. You don't want to lose the weight that quick because you can get into a nutritional imbalance, and that can be a very bad idea for you, all right? So that's why this surgery is very, very important. And if you have acid reflux, as I told you, if you get this surgery and if you get the sleeve, this cannot be a problem, all right? Malnutrition is too, because a portion of the intestine, the beginning of the intestine is still available for some food absorption. At the beginning of the intestine, the iron is absorbed. So if the iron is absorbed there, then less likely you are gonna have problems of anemia. I had a patient that had a gastric bypass about 15 years ago. I converted his bypass into this surgery, and the patient lost all the weight that she wanted to lose, and anemia, it's gone. So a lot of benefits from this surgery. It's very important. You might think about a possibility. You want to know more about this surgery, just let us know. It's going to be promising. You're going to be hearing a lot about this surgery. It's going to be like, seems it needs to be proven in the long run, let's say 20, 30, 40 years. This surgery might be the surgery that it might be called the new gold standard. So we gotta check. But the results are now being promising, very, very promising, but amazing results. And the bariatric world has put in the eyes on this surgery in the recent 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Okay, so additional to this, remember that you can contact us anytime. You can let us know whatever you need. You can contact us whatever you need. This surgery is great, but even though it's a great surgery, still is not the final solution. It still is 5% of the process, 3% of the process, 95% of the process is the Zplendid forward. Okay, Oscar?
Dr. C, we have a question from Heather. She's saying that, Dr. C, what makes this different than SASI?
Okay, what makes difference to SASI, Heather? Okay, SASI is a pretty similar surgery to intestinal transit bipartition. Just the SASI is just this connection, not cut, no Y. The difference between the SASI and the intestinal transit bipartition is the intestinal transit bipartition, you cut like this and you create a Y. This divert the bile, and the bile is not in touch with the sleeve. So for the person that with SASI or that develops a bile reflux, the best way to treat it and to eliminate this bile reflux is to convert it into a Y. That is the biggest difference between the SASI and the intestinal transit bipartition. Okay, the Y that you create with the intestines. Okay, that is the biggest difference between the SASI and the intestinal transit bipartition. All right. ¿Tenemos más preguntas, Oscar? So, questions, anything that you want to talk, anything, questions about whatever, any other questions, previous patients, something that you want to know, whatever, we can discuss it, all right? I was telling you about this patient. This patient had a gastric bypass, 15 years ago. Since the very beginning, the patient developed severe anemia in the levels of 7, 8, and it was very hard to increase the levels. Besides this, the patient regained such amount of weight that she went up to 70 to 75 pounds. So she decided to do a gastric bypass revision, and I offer her an intestinal transit bipartition. It's not a simple surgery. It's a complex, very, very complex surgery. I need to undo the bypass, then redo a sleeve, and then reroute the intestine. So it's not a simple surgery. Even though it's not a simple surgery, the results are amazing. This patient, 6 months after, weighs 170 pounds, almost as her goal weight. Is looking for plastics. Anemia has resolved totally. And this is something that it has been amazing for her. I've operated several patients that are getting really, really good results too. Well, one patient developed a little bit of bile reflux that it can be easily treated, okay? But I think this is what is important. And it's much more important that you know, that you understand where the success relies. Success relies on the food you eat, on the sleep you have, on the exercise you perform. I know it's difficult. I know it's complex. So we have more questions? Yes?
Yes. Teddy Perez, will this be a good option to do after having the sleep?
That is a very, very important question. So revisional surgery is going to be very common in the upcoming years, okay? One of the surgeries that is going to be more revised in the world is going to be a gastric sleeve. Gastric sleeve can be revised to almost whatever. See, a gastric sleeve can be revised into a room-wide gastric bypass, can be revised into a mini gastric bypass, can be revised into a SATI, can be revised into a SASI, can be revised into duodenal switch, and of course it can be revised to intestinal transit bipartition. If you 30 had a gastric sleeve, you didn't lose enough weight, you lose weight but you regain some weight, and you don't develop complications from the sleeve like severe acid reflux, and if you don't have a hiatal hernia, then intestinal transit bipartition can be a great option for you. If you develop a very bad acid reflux, and if you develop a very large hiatal hernia, it might not be an option, but it's most likely that you are a great candidate to do this type of surgery, okay? So contact us, send us a private message. We're gonna talk back to you, and we can discuss your options. I think you can do terrific, okay? ¿Tenemos algo más por ahí?
Yes, Dr. C, we have another question from Marvin Brickman. He said that a smooth surgery from start to finish, and Dr. C is extremely authentic.
The Brickmans. Marvin, how are you doing? I hope your wife is doing good too. The little side effects of the gastric bypass are getting better. Yes, thank you so much for your kind words. Remember that no matter what you need, I'm going to be here for you. Keep contacting me, letting me know how the things are going. Just send a private message. It doesn't take a long time for me to answer. Congratulations. I know that you're losing a good amount of weight. Remember the Splendid 4. The last success of the surgery, or the ultimate success, relies on the food you eat, on the sleep you get, on the exercise you perform, and your ability to control the stress, okay? So those are the key factors in order to succeed. Never forget the supplements, and never forget the vitamins, all the supplements that you need, because in those supplements and in those vitamins, there is a portion of success too, all right? So, ¿tenemos algo más?
Yes.
We're going to see for more questions.
Okay, we have Vicky Annie, and she said that, can I revision gastric bypass? I had surgery about 20 years ago. So she asking, can I revision gastric bypass?
Yeah, a gastric bypass can be revised. If it was done, it would be interesting to know if the gastric bypass was done open or it was done laparoscopic. If it was done open or laparoscopic, both can be revised, just the open surgery is more complex. It's more difficult to revise an open gastric bypass than a laparoscopic, but it can be revised. In this case, the revision can be in two ways. I can see your bypass, how it is, and I make it more aggressive. All right. What I revise in a gastric bypass, I revise the size of the pouch. If the pouch is large, I make it smaller. The second portion I revise from a gastric bypass is the opening, the stomach. If the stomach is too big, when you eat food, the food goes by with no restrictions. So I need to do that connection smaller. And the third portion I revise is the intestinal lymph length. That intestinal, if it's short, I can distalize it. So 3 things to revise: the pouch, the stomach, and the intestinal lymph length. So that is how a gastric bypass can be revised. And the other option is to undo the bypass, to revert totally the bypass, and do an intestinal transit bipartition, which is complex. I'm not saying that it's simple. Sometimes if the previous scar tissue or stuff like that is very, very bad, sometimes it's not possible, but it can be revised into a more aggressive form of a gastric bypass, okay?
Okay, and Ashley Stevenson, I have an ITB on the second, and Leah Bells, she said, Dr. C, what is the percentage of weight loss commonly seen with the surgery compared to sleep? Can I wait to see you? I can't wait to see you again in July, Dr. C.
Okay, so we're going to see you in 6 months. Okay, the percentage is better, because the gastric sleeve is it's also a metabolic procedure, but the strength of the metabolism change with the gastric sleeve is not as strong as the intestinal transit bipartition. Let's say that with the sleeve, you lose 65% of the excess amount of weight. With intestinal transit bipartition can be 10, 15, 20% more. And it's not the only thing. If your obesity is associated to diabetes, then it's a better surgery. The sustainability of weight loss in the time is longer. The feasibility of revision from intestinal transit bipartition might be very, very easy too. So in percentage, I would say that with the intestinal transit, you lose 10 to 20% more weight loss than with the gastric sleeve alone, based on 5 years follow-up or 5 years of a process. So it's a great option. Less acid reflux, less possibilities of malnutrition, malabsorption, less possibilities of anemia, and no intestinal segments exclusions. There are no bypasses. Well, it's a bypass, but not a complete bypass, because there are no segments excluded in the surgery. Okay? ¿Alguna otra?
Okay, Terry Perez again. Will this be a good option to do after having the sleep? I think we already have that one.
Yeah, we already have it. I think it was one of the best options. As I told you, gastric sleeve is a wonderful surgery because it gives you the 6 possibilities. Do you remember? I will mention them again. Gastric bypass. The older brother, Roux-en-Y gastric bypass. The younger brother, mini gastric bypass. Duodenal switch. The older brother, SADS, the younger brother. Or the bipartition, which is SACID, the younger brother, or intestinal transit bipartition, the older brother. It can be converted into 6 different type of surgeries. So if you get the sleeve, there are a lot of options for you. If you already tried medications, if it's not working, it might be a reason why it's not working. Because with the gastric sleeve, you lose some muscle. And if you don't have that metabolism, the weight loss might not be that good. Okay, so important the multidisciplinary team, important the nutrition, important the exercise. So let us know, we can help you. Okay.
Still Terry Perez, Dr. C. She have another question. Did she asking that? I've been noticed that I've been getting heartburn or feel like a pill stuck in my throat and literally last a day. Will this be the gastric acid?
It's possible. If she had a gastric sleeve, it's very likely that is acid reflux. So in this case, the evaluation from a patient is throughout physical exam, get some questions, get some information about this acid reflux, and an endoscopy. Put a camera through your mouth to see how everything looks inside. It's possible that you develop a hernia, a hiatal hernia, that is the cause. Another thing is the scar tissue itself twists the sleeve, and this causes the food to reflux back to the esophagus and back to the mouth. So it can be that. If the sleeve is good and if it doesn't have a very abnormal gastric sleeve, then intestinal transit bipartition can fix it. If not, the best way to fix it is through a Roux-en-Y gastric bypass surgery. Okay. More questions, please, people. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. It's been a lot of changes with the show up of the medications. I love the bariatric world is changing. I remember that I always told you, don't rely on the surgery because the surgery is not the solution. And a lot of new options are going to be coming. There are dozens of new medications are proved or under research at this moment. And some of them are going to show up in the market. And if you don't change the way you eat, ain't no matter the medication you take, ain't no matter the surgery you get. So some patients might say, so if I'm able to do all these things, then I don't need a surgery. Yeah, you don't need it. You're able to do those 4 things, you're not going to need it. But it's different. You're strong, right? You're very strong, and you're going to get into a battle. It's different to go into that battle by yourself or going with some support. So the support that a surgery means for any process is fantastic. The support that the medications are, the process is fantastic. Choose your support, but never forget about the basics, because in basic stuff is the success. All right. So never forget that. Please never forget that, because the world is getting more and more and more overweighted. COVID was a pandemia, sorry. Obesity is, in my opinion, 10 times, 20 times, 50 times worse, and seems to get worse and worse and worse and worse. So don't allow that this problem affects your family. Create that discipline, change a few habits, and you're going to be able to keep your family, yourself healthy. Okay. ¿Tenemos más preguntas?
Like me. With the ITD, it's more of metabolic or physical change that contributes to the additional weight loss.
It's mainly metabolic. It's nowadays the surgery, bariatric surgery, has changed the name. They say metabolic surgery. A gastric sleeve is a metabolic surgery. gastric bypass is a metabolic surgery. You know, a SADIS is a metabolic surgery. All are metabolic surgeries because change the metabolism. In this case, both mechanisms help, but one of the biggest is metabolic changes. So you gotta support these metabolic changes with the habits. If you're able to do that, you're gonna get the best tool ever, and you might have amazing results. The physical changes are important too, and the physical changes is that you develop some sort of restriction, so you don't eat that amount of food. And the second thing is you don't absorb huge amounts of food. So that is the physical part that I understood the question this way. The physical part, which is restriction and malabsorptions, are still there. They play a role, but the biggest role in intestinal transit bipartition is metabolic changes in hormones, in intestinal hormones, GLP, insulin, glucagon, cholecystokinin, PYY, several surgeries, almost 60 hormones that play a role in that mechanism of control of the metabolism and the weight. Okay. ¿Preguntas? ¿Tenemos más?
Oh, we don't have certainly questions, but we got comments. You want to hear them?
Yeah, a few of them. We have a few minutes, and I can say hi. It's very likely there are one of my former patients, my beautiful patient. So,
July Gally Elstein, she said, the best surgeon ever, changed my life for the best.
You look fantastic, by the way. I've seen your pictures. I still remember that I did a mini gastric bypass on you. You were in the room, which is 221, the first room after the hallway. I still remember you. You're hairy. Yeah, you look fantastic. Congratulations on your success. Be very careful. You're still in a honeymoon phase. I hope you keep those results for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, okay? Congratulations.
Okay, and Sherry Chapard Leboeuf.
Sherry Leboeuf.
Sherry Leboeuf. She said, the main thing I still focus on is the diet you taught me. Eat my protein first always, then my veggies. You have the quality of life with my family.
Well, that is fantastic. So the Leboeuf is not only you. I still remember that I operated several members of your family. Congratulations on your success. Remember that whatever you need, you can contact me. Yeah, no problem for me to be in touch. Anything that you need, the follow-up, blood work, or any call that you want to have with me, I'm going to be there for you. Ain't no problem. Congratulations for you, for your family. And I hope everybody is doing fantastic in your family and you're able to achieve your goals and you're able to enjoy life. Okay?
I think we have another important question, Dr. C.
Yes.
Jerome Jones. He said, how big of a deal is sleep apnea after surgery?
Say it again, please.
How big of deal is sleep apnea after surgery?
Oh, sleep apnea. Sleep apnea, how big is the deal of sleep apnea? Well, one of the first obesity-related diseases that improves after the surgery is OSA, obstructive sleep apnea. It's related to the amount of fat that is in the neck, and the tongue goes back and obstructs the airway. So the quality of sleep is really, really bad. You might need some machines to help you here and there. But that is one of the first comorbidities that improve after a weight loss surgery. So it says that with the gastric bypass or duodenal suture SADI, this problem is a result 90-95% of the times over 5 years, period. So the results are going to be very, very similar with ITB. So sleep apnea is one of the biggest stressors in overweight people because it causes a lot of bad quality sleep, and this bad quality sleep causes sleep deprivation, and sleep deprivation causes stress, and stress release a cortisol hormone, and cortisol hormones melt the muscles and convert it into fat. So there's no way you can build muscle under stressing conditions. So OSA, sleep apnea, is one of the conditions that makes the patients with not severe obesity or overweight to become a candidate. It's a illness-defined candidates for surgery. So if you have obstructive sleep apnea, you need a sleep apnea machine, CPAP, BPAP, or whatever. And losing weight is the best treatment for this condition, okay? So it can be resolved. It can be resolved, okay? Okay, so estamos ahí. Okay, people, thank you so much for being here with me. I appreciate you, Charles. I appreciate that you connected here. Share this video. This video is going to be, you're going to be able to share this video, whoever you want to share it, whatever you want to share it. Any people that wants to have conversation with me, want to have an advice about what to do, about a process. If you get a surgery with someone else, you want to talk to me, you want to, my insights about the process, about a surgery or whatever, just let me know. I'm here to help. I'm willing to help. And remember that the biggest help that you're going to receive in this process doesn't come outside, comes within you, comes inside of you, comes from you being able to take control of what do you want. It's simple. So you set the goals. If the goal is that way, the only thing you need to do is walk that way. Go that way. Sooner or later, you're going to be that goal. And that's why I encourage the patients to do. You want to lose weight? You know, it's mandatory, those animals. You cannot get the surgery because there's the money, because the economy is crashing, because a lot of things are happening and you're not able to do it. I think there are always good options and better options to eat. Turn off screens, turn off the TV, turn off the phone, turn off everything. The bright of the gadgets affects a lot. Move a little bit. Do some squats. 15 minutes. You don't have to kill your body with exercise, but you can start doing a few changes and small changes. Give yourself 10, 15, 20 minutes of meditation. All these things together can be as good as a balloon, can be as good as an endoscopic gastric sleeve, can be as good as 2, 3, 4, 6 months of GLP-1 analogs. Simple things, tiny steps, always moving forward toward your goal, and you're going to achieve whatever you want to achieve. And the last words I want to share with you is thank you so much again. Thank you so much for watching this live. I invite you to follow us on social media, follow us on YouTube, follow us on TikTok, follow us on Facebook, follow us. All the social media, we're going to be there. Any questions that you can share with us, we're going to be there for you too. And remember that you are under control. It's a matter of a decision. It's a matter of a decision. It's not easy. It's not easy, that decision, because we are addicted to this lifestyle. But small changes, put them all together over the time, can make you the person that you want to be. The person you want to become, you can become whoever. Mother Teresa from Calcutta used to say that life is a great opportunity. And every time, as far as you breathe, you still have the opportunity to do whatever you want to be, okay? So take care of your body will take care of your mind will take care of your soul, and the three together is going to make you have a joyful life. Enjoy, create joy, enjoy your family, enjoy yourself, because life is so short, so tiny, it can go anytime, okay? Thank you so much for watching, people. I appreciate your trust. If you have any further questions, and all the questions are that you send me after this live ends, I will personally answer them, and I will give you my opinion, my insights about any topic, any bariatric topic you want to talk about, okay? Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Have a good one. Take care. And remember, when I come with Dr. Zavalza, don't trust Zplendid, okay? Yep. ¿Lo pagas?